podcast for sure.
Well, it's not launched yet, so let's not go there.
But you're working on it.
I'm working on it.
That's okay. We can put it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready to get started?
Shoot.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man. I'm super happy to be back here on the beach with Dianne Campbell, one of my great friends, and the owner of our sponsored chairs.
These very chairs.
That's right, Bony Booties Beach Rentals. So if you're out, oh, what's up, Dan? What's going on? And we got Dan.
Yeah, he's just my backup guy.
The security. What's going on?
Pictures.
You look, yeah, you look great, man. You look like you're enjoying life. Look at you guys. You guys look amazing. Good for you.
Yeah, retirement will do that.
You doing? Are you gonna bring out another chair and hang out with us? No. You gonna take some photos? Or you got paparazzi, huh?
Yep, paparazzi.
Let's go. Okay, so we're out here filming, and thank you for joining us. I'm sure there's gonna be new listeners because you're on the show.
Yeah.
And so for the new listeners, we're just gonna talk about what NCUYD means. In essence, it's growing the community. It's really just thinking about, okay, what are the moments in life that we're happy with? What are the moments in life that we're not happy with? And then what are the changes that, help us get to those moments that we actually want to change in our lives, right?
Okay.
So for me, I think life in general, you go from situation to situation, and then you have moments of decision making that you make decisions that then create an outcome. So if we get to these outcomes we're not happy with, then really there's a couple things to look at. What was the influence? What was the thought? What was the emotion that led to that decision? So influence creates thoughts. Thoughts drive that emotion or create an emotion, and the emotion then helps and drives that action, or sometimes inaction and not acting.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
So for me, because I've gone through lots of changes throughout my life, it's something that I've just realized that, like, if we can just dial this in on certain things that we're not happy with, then we can start changing it in a way that, like, makes sense over when is this ever going to change?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
definition of insanity.
Yeah, exactly. You keep doing the same thing, right? And that's what I said. The other thing is, like, life can be very cyclical in certain things until you make a change and it becomes another cycle.
Yeah.
So those are the things. So, Dianne, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here on my own chair.
That's right. I
don't often get to sit on my own chairs on the beach.
Yeah,
so that's kind of cool.
Super comfy, super comfy. So, where do you want to start? Let me ask. Let's obviously we'll definitely get into the chairs. Well, obviously there's a story behind there, but let's talk about you. Growing up, can you give us a little? How did you grow up? What was the influence around that? And then, how did that lead to where you are now?
I grew up in New Jersey as a Jersey girl.
Oh, what's up, Jersey? Shout out to Jersey.
Jersey!
Let's go.
Along the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
So this is kind of a reciprocal experience for me.
Yeah.
My parents moved away from the city of Elizabeth, New Jersey, and moved us down to the shore when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
I had a brother at that point, no other siblings, but we moved to a place called West Long Branch, which is Monmouth County.
Very familiar.
And Dad used to take the train into New York every single day for 30 years. We used to drive him to the train station. He'd go up to New York, come back. Sometimes he'd fall asleep on the train. We'd pick him up two or three stops south of where we were, but that was just part of it.
Was he tired from work or drunk?
Yeah. Tired.
Okay.
No, tired.
Okay.
It'd take an hour and a half to get up to New York, go into 2 Broadway, work in, he was a fire protection engineer.
Okay.
And Mom was a stay-at-home mom, so we had this kind of life all summer.
Nice.
Kids would just, leave the house. In my generation, you leave the house and you won't come back till 5 o'clock at dinner time, and things were good. We'd ride our bikes all day. It was
no social media at the time.
No, it was a great childhood.
No TikTok.
No anything. Pools were the big excitement for the summer, and bikes. We rode our bikes everywhere, down to the beach. We were about 8 miles.
Oh, man,
up and down the boardwalk, back. It was all good.
What a great life.
Yeah, it was really wonderful.
Nice.
And you realize that as you go along that what your kids are allowed to do is way less than what you were allowed to do, and this generation way less than what my kids did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think, why do you think that is?
I think it's a general safety concern over bad things that happen to children and good people.
Do you think that it was different back then, though?
No, I was totally oblivious to that. It may or may not have happened. I'm sure it did.
Yeah, I think part of that is like you see more of that now. Like before,
more awareness.
You're more, yeah. There's more
people
awareness
coming out and saying, "Listen, I was abused inside this faith, or I was abused by this neighbor, or you know, whatever the case."
Just talking about
it wasn't my experience.
Right.
You know, we didn't have any of that sort of thing.
Yeah, good.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, for sure.
But from Jersey, we got married in 1989, Dan and I.
Cool.
And kind of knew at that point that buying a house in Jersey was kind of difficult, and you were going to get, you know, a smaller kind of house.
Yeah.
It'd be way more expensive than moving south. So we looked in 4 different states: North Carolina, Tennessee, south of Florida, and Georgia. And Georgia was the last place we thought we'd end up being. But it had the technology, it had the housing that we could afford, and we were fortunate to move after we both lost our jobs, and we were about to start a family. So we knew it was now or never.
How
pretty
was that?
much. How's what?
Like you both lost your jobs while starting a family?
Well, in New Jersey, we lost our jobs, and Dan was actively looking for work.
What was that like though? Like feeling wise, were you guys like, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Well, no, I think the decision to move was already made. It was just that helped us make it faster.
Got it.
So yeah, in our search, you know, we were looking for affordable housing, technology-based area, and just a nice area where we could get jobs. So Georgia was it. North of Atlanta ended up being the place for us. Little did we know it ended up being one of the 10 counties for growth in the nation at the time. It's like, who knew?
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful place to raise kids. We were able to purchase a new house, and then again another new house in Georgia, you know, in the...
Nice. How long did you live in Georgia for?
30 years.
Wow. Okay.
30 years. It was a great place to raise children. Our other 2 girls are still there. The oldest one is here in Jacksonville. So it's turned out really great for us. A good decision. After 30 years, we're in the semi-retirement mode, so it was time to consider moving again to a place where it still had good health care. The jobs weren't so much important because COVID, and Dan was still kind of working from home at that point. Cool. In his job, he was able to dial in and maintain the same salary with the same company in Georgia, so we were just like, let's go.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's what we did, and after looking at 20 different places, even though I had family here, it still wasn't the thing to pull.
Yeah.
It was getting out there and looking at all the different places to see if they checked the boxes on what our list was.
Yeah.
You know, healthcare, affordability, being able to buy a house. Are there jobs there if we want to? All those kind of things are important for family and living. And then ironically, it was after I walked out of a house in Richmond Hill, Georgia, I said to Dan, I said, you know, it's Palm Coast. I just knew it at that point. I walked out and I knew that this was where we needed to be.
Damn.
And because I had 2 brothers here and parents that moved here after their retirement, it was an easy transition for us, somewhat easy, for a lot of different things, but hard on other ways. Because we were semi-familiar with the area. This was the place we vacationed all the time with our Georgia family. So we always came down here, stayed with mom or dad or a brother, and just enjoyed Flagler Beach area.
Yeah.
St. Augustine.
And so now you're here.
Doing all the things that
taking over.
Taking over.
You see all these chairs on the beach. It's like, oh, it's thanks to Dianne. Look at it. So take me through. I guess, let's take me through a little bit of your brother, this legacy, what went through there, and has this been a tough situation in terms of outcomes where you're like, I need to figure this thing out? Like, can you take us through this a little bit?
Yeah, entrepreneurship is not easy.
No.
I had a business in Georgia for 10 years doing corporate gifts. We served business owners in helping them appreciate their clients for business.
I've always had that like bug of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've always had
the
entrepreneurial bug, pretty much.
Like what did you do early on?
Well, there's a lot of dabbled in, little craft things, and it's funny, that's come full circle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's cyclical, man.
Yeah, and I always lean into the creative side of things.
Cool.
I was a draftsman in my trade. I spun into draftsman, being a draftsperson from wood shop in high school.
And what's draft, like meaning like
drafting is I was a mechanical drafter. So you take parts of PCs, computers, and when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, we had to draw these things on our own.
Okay.
Dan and I worked in the same company, although we didn't have any kind of relationship until after I left there. But I was in the drafting department. I did all the mechanical drawing, measuring of parts and things for chassis that put computers together.
Cool. Okay.
So that spun off from woodworking. I couldn't even read a ruler when I was in grammar school. Went to 9 years of Catholic school, and for a kinesthetic learner, someone who wants to get their hands onto something, it just didn't work for me. So I was thrilled to get out of there, go into high school, a public high school where I can explore shops and home ec and art and get my hands into that. And once I got into woodworking, it was not going back.
Okay. You enjoy that, huh?
Oh, I love it.
You love it.
I have a teacher come alongside of me, and he says, you're the first girl in the class, but I know you're going to be successful because you spend the time finishing and sanding things, and the guys just want to slap together and get on to the next thing. Right. But I would spend the time, and I still have things I made today in my house that are being used. Fantastic. Coffee tables, shelves. So felt so proud and accomplished, to be able to finally be able to excel at something that wasn't science or math or whatever.
Cool.
But it did teach me how to read a ruler.
Nice.
Which just opened up a whole new life for me.
Awesome.
So.
Okay, so you always had the bug. So tell me the story. Well, all right. Well, so before the story, is there anything right now, or maybe in the last couple of years that like it was a hard situation, tough situation that you had to get through?
Of course. So we moved to Georgia. Just getting to the move of Georgia, we had to tell our adult children that we were making this decision. They were in our house still, and they were doing their jobs, but they were kind of dragging their feet a little bit on what to do in life and how to move forward into adulthood. So we kind of knew that we had to help them get to that point.
By
moving.
Push them sort of.
Yes, I wanted them to get out of the nest and be able to fail while they were still young and could recuperate, rather than later in life when you couldn't really, it would be just a longer recuperation time.
Right.
And growing up time. And that was a very hard thing to do, emotionally straining on both of us, very stressful on them because they had plans, but they weren't put in place on their time. It was put in place pretty much on our time.
Right.
So we gave them a deadline, put the house up for sale, and they had to find their apartments and literally maintain their jobs and find their way, which it did cause a little bit of emotional stress and grief for them, but ultimately it's come back full circle.
Yeah,
and
of course.
They haven't said you did a great job of kicking us out of the house,
but
not yet. No,
it'll take some time.
They will. They'll appreciate it later.
That's funny. That's funny because
But super hard.
Yeah, I know.
Because you love your kids. Right. You don't want, and girls too. You don't want to put them out on the street corner or under a bridge with a cardboard box. Yeah. But at the same time, they have to figure it out. If it means they have to hustle to do it, then that's what we had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hustle to do it.
I agree. I think there's a level of, like, even now with our kiddos or our one kiddo that's left in the house, it's kind of putting them in scenarios and situations. Because like, I feel the same thing too. It's like generational wise, it's like how you grow up, or there's differences of like, hey, go figure this out. Like, go do it on your own. Or even like going out, when you're saying riding your bike from here to here and you're out for the rest of the day, like it was sort of on you to figure some of these things out. where I think it's a lot different now, where more and more kids are just at home, sort of in their room doing their thing. We kind of don't. So, leading up to that decision, were you and Dan like talking about it, and then like was the initial like strife, like you're like, I don't know how they're gonna feel, or it's like, no, this is definitely gonna be for their best? And then where did that emotional turmoil come through, and then how'd you guys handle it? Like, how'd you guys get through it, or like have that communication with the
kiddos? I would say it was the whole root ball of emotions from
Mm.
every angle. It was our financial planner that kind of encouraged us. It was post 2020, so post COVID, and he had already been working from home. So it was like she said to us, "What are you waiting for? You should list the house." It was probably October. You should list the house in January. And he was like, "Whoa." We weren't ready for that.
Right.
So we were still doing things in the house to prep it for sale, but that was not enough time for them to figure out.
Yeah, right.
So, that was 2 months versus, we told them that in April or March, we're gonna list the house, and however long it takes to sell.
And so there's just a change in terms of like how quick.
We initially told them 5 years, and that they called us on the carpet on that. Well, you said.
Yeah.
But all in with our searching and prepping ahead of time, looking at houses in different areas and studying where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Getting information from and visiting those places. That was already in place for future retirement, but. It caused a lot of stress from October to April when the house listed, that we were gonna, there was yelling and screaming and crying and sleepless nights, and because we love our family, we all do. But when we finally listed the house, it sold like right immediately.
Wow, yeah.
Because we were in that market, everybody was thinking, hey, I can work from home now. So. Once we moved, and even that moving is stressful enough.
Right.
We had some pets die on us just the day before we moved, so it was all kind of emotions that come down here. And my brother is sick.
Okay.
He wasn't initially had the diagnosis, but and we had planned on Bony Booties, this business, before I left Georgia. So I was working from there. I had a 3-year plan for him. I said, I can't schlep the chairs on the beach, but I'll be happy to do, the marketing and push it out on Facebook and network. Once I get down here, I'll come visit and I'll be a financial support as well. And I did purchase, had bought my way in. So, we did it together. That was 2021. And shortly after I moved here, we worked it for a year. Everything was good. We were getting some traction. And he gets a diagnosis of cancer, and it was pretty quick. He had colon cancer, and so it was oh crap, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a place unfamiliar, didn't know the people. I knew the area kind of sort of, but not at a deep level. I remember sitting at a First Friday event they have down here at Veterans Park. What do I even want to do this if he's going to get sick? Or he is sick. And I knew the outcome.
Right.
So with his blessing, I brought in a new partner, Rex, who just basically showed up from behind me at that event, and it's like, I'll help you. So it was like an answer from a higher authority that you can do this.
Then we got you.
So we got you back.
Journey.
But it still, it wasn't an easy thing. I was at that point we had moved from Georgia, temporary living in Jacksonville with our oldest daughter, and traveling down here to network and to make a dent in things here, to do events here.
What year was this?
This was 2021 into 2022. And so that was my existence. A lot of driving, a lot of networking, a lot of kind of coming down here, doing the networking event, going to bring my brother to the hospital, coming down here, go to a networking event, visit him at rehab, take him to an appointment, cut his hair, do whatever, that you do out of love and loyalty to your family. And but we eventually lost him in March of 2023. And again, sitting opposite his interment site at the church, and I said, "Bro, what do you want me to do with this now? I mean, do I really even want to move forward? No, unfamiliar area. Now who's going to help me get the stuff and get the business up?" So that was a huge blow, losing your partner and brother. Of course, it was a double grief kind of event.
So let me ask you.
Sure.
Even so, with this happening, and then the things that were happening with your daughters, because I'm sure that was still like an emotional weight on everything. How are you dealing with the emotions? Because like, when I see you, you're pretty even keel. You know, you're like Zen sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck? What is she smoking? Because like thinking about all these things that you got going on, how did you deal with some of these emotional? Obviously, like, you know, between the daughters and your brothers, how did you and Dan kind of get through that?
You know, that's a good question. I would say my faith is what keeps us grounded. But you said Zen, that's just my personality. I'm introverted in a lot of ways. I ponder, I think a lot. You know, I talk to trusted people, friends and not even family, but friends that are in business that understand what's going on. From a business standpoint, what you have to do, how you have to behave, you know, and just put my head down and just grind. I got a part-time job to supplement in those grief periods, you know, to make money, to kind of do what I thought I needed to do in the business. So that really kind of just stay busy. I was keeping busy, doing the things that business owners do, get out there, network.
And then what about with your daughters? Like, did you and Dan talk a lot about like the emotions and stuff like that? Like, is that your partner?
Father-daughter relationship is pretty special. And he's softer on the girls than I was. I mean, that's just his nature. But the love has always been there. But we kind of picked up the pieces of that, even though they had bitterness, they didn't really want to be separated from us. You know, and our oldest daughter is pretty level-headed, so she was kind of bridging the gap between emotions of how they were feeling and the emotions of how we are feeling and what we needed to do to plan for retirement. We discovered in our late 50s that our runway is getting shorter. You know, so how do you get your plane to take off on that runway if you're financially not ready to do that? So it was like, you know, a wake-up call. It was our financial planner gave us this packet, asked us all these questions. Where do you want to be in XYZ years out? And I was like, we both were like, we got to do something. And we have to do it fast. Because, you know, when you're in the weeds, parenting and raising kids and all that, you don't get to save a lot of money. At least we didn't get to save a lot of money. Fortunately, he had a job that was paying really well. So we were able to catch ourselves up and make some strategic moves there to handle that.
And how old were the kiddos?
They're, you know, when we moved, they were maybe 24 and 28. So it was time. And they chose not to go to college. So that kind of made it a little bit harder for them to get their feet under them.
Is that something between your daughters now that like you're still working through, or like is there still some leftover of that stuff, and then internally with you as well?
Actually, I kind of feel like we come full circle, but we've evolved into what I would call adult friendships. Our oldest daughter is, you know, we listen and talk with her a lot. She advises us on you know, what she thinks. Well, obviously it's our decision, but we heed the advice. And the other daughters are, you know, because they're just now on their own, one is coming back around There's love there. There's family time there. There's, their lifestyle is their lifestyle, and I have to respect that. And a parent has to back off at that point. If you chose to, you and your husband, to move forward into your semi-retirement life, then you have to back off on parenting.
Yeah.
So, and that was a transition for both of us. But, at the end of the day, we all love each other. They say that. They come visit. They do what they can. But I think it's better.
Yeah.
It's better. It may rear its ugly head in a conversation of how they felt then, but ultimately, I think everybody's better off for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it'll take and again, it's these cyclical things, because at some point we were children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's. I think there'll be moments where, at some point they'll understand, like, wow, if it weren't that,
right,
or whatever it was, then it wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't have these experiences. And I think ultimately, I think that just happens, right? Like, I think it happens in every generational.
I moved out of the house at 21, and I never moved back.
Yeah,
no. So that was kind of foreign to me to continue to live there, and so I wasn't totally empathetic about that situation. I was more kind of worried that you got to move forward.
Yeah.
You can't sit home and they weren't gamers or anything on the computer all day. They worked, but you got to figure this out.
Right.
This is a life thing. This is going to be your life. We're not going to be here for all of your life.
Yeah.
As much as we can, we'd love to, but it has to transition into us supporting you to maybe down the road, you emotionally and support us as we age.
Yeah.
So we knew all this.
Right. It's funny how we later on know it.
You don't want to push the ceiling on being the matriarch and patriarch of your family, but here we are.
Yeah.
And we say this all the time. How did we get here?
Yeah.
At mid 60s.
Yeah.
How did we get here? Because we were the young bucks that they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
exactly. It's
crazy.
Again, it's funny too when you see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad that where you guys are at, because it is seeing things, as far as, like, for me, I don't really call myself a step parent, because, like, it's really Aussie, right? So I don't know if that's how they see me, but I've been with them for quite some time, and there's been certain things that unfortunately have led them to not want to live with us and then go do on their own thing. For us, it's turned more of to, like, it's sort of falls on me as being the reason why, even though I think there's a bunch of things going on, right? But I can relate to how it can be. One, I'm a believer of, like, you can go do it. Like, there's no way in hell, like, with a phone and what you got going on, like, the accessibility that
all the tools are there for
you
success.
Can go, like, you can go do it. Like, we're here to support, right? I'll be here to support. I'll be here to provide my experience to you if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
But there should be no excuse that you can't go and do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like, at minimum, go buy yourself a car, or minimum, go get yourself an apartment. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I feel like I share that with you, and I understand and I understand from, like, the kids' perspective, obviously, because if we were like that, as far as, like, we were living with our parent and they were like, hey, sorry, you guys got to get out, like, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how they're perceiving it initially, right? But they don't see the extra layers of, like, okay, they're actually doing this, one, to benefit, obviously, themselves as far as what they need to do as parents, but two, they're doing this to benefit me as far as the experiences that I'm about to have.
Yeah.
And the situations that I put myself in to figure out these things.
Right.
And it's not like you were like, here, go on the street. Like, it wasn't like you threw them out.
Pack your stuff and get out.
Yeah.
No. I want to teach them to fish.
Yeah.
Not give them the fish.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that makes sense.
Exactly.
You know, my oldest daughter is a stepdaughter, but I've known her since she was 2 years old, in diapers, in fact. She was dancing on my feet in my wedding.
Cool.
So, and I knew when I said I do to my husband, I said I do to the child, the spouse, my spouse's ex, his ex's whole family, and I decided then, when I said I do, that I was going to co-parent him and be the rock for any children, that especially this one, who is just such a special individual.
Yeah.
Call her my bonus daughter.
Shout out to the bonus daughter listening.
Yes, exactly. But I wanted to be the rock and steady in the midst of all her ups and downs.
Oh, wow.
Through trials and tribulations and moving from Jersey to Georgia, all of that stuff. I wanted to be the rock and supported. We wanted to be a rock steady for her, because if we're all over the place, then she's going to end up being all over the place.
Yeah, right.
The potential is higher anyway.
Yeah, right.
But she's not. She's very, very rock steady. Thank goodness, and just love her to pieces. But
how did you come to like that awareness point where it was like, this is how I need to be for this person? Like, how did you know that you had to be the rock?
Instinctually, I just knew that marriages and divorces can go a million different ways.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault that the marriage previous to me failed.
Yeah.
And I knew where I stood, with a confidence, just a personal confidence. I knew that my values and my motives were pure. When you do take a chance, when you say I do to a blended family, that it may or may not work.
Yeah.
Anything may or may not work. There's no guarantee in life. And my parents were upset, that it was a previously married man. Right. But, what else you gonna do? I don't know. I just knew.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a maturity level or how I was raised, morals and values. I'm sorry?
How old were you at the time?
27.
Wow, yeah. Okay.
So it was later in life. And maybe maturity had a lot to do with it,
Right.
but your core values, I don't think change a whole lot.
Yeah, influence.
Influence how your parents raised you, they don't change a whole lot over the years.
Yeah,
so,
Yeah, especially if they did a good job, right? Like
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Either way, if they did or didn't, there's always going to be that influence.
Yeah.
And you either do in terms of that again, or if you want to change it, you just don't. You're opposite of it.
Exactly. And there's always trials and tribulations in a marriage.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can count on one hand how many times we've had a heated argument.
Yeah.
We're just kind of even keeled.
I feel like whenever you guys have arguments, you guys would probably take out like a chessboard and play chess. Like I feel like that's your level of arguments.
Yes, he's very introverted,
Right.
and I'm like all over,
Right.
but we kind of cross-pollinate each other, if you will, of what our personalities are like. He's happy sitting at home programming things and working in the wood shop, and I have to have just a little dose of people every now and then. Then I go home and I'm like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, people down.
Help people out, yeah.
I think we all have
it's
that.
all good that way, and I can get him out, and he enjoys that.
Yeah.
And that's enough. Let's go home, and we go back to live in our private lives and talking or not talking. We don't have to talk every second of the day.
That's funny.
So
it's great. It's so a couple of things that come up. It's like just one, the importance of having somebody like that, right? Like,
definitely.
I feel like having that support partner and spouse, whoever that may be to you, I think it's super important. I obviously have that in Patty, because I feel like it can get lonely at times if you don't have that support system.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not one, if you had to call me confrontational or non-confrontational, I definitely lean towards the non-confrontational.
Right.
Although I'm half Italian, so it's going to be, I'm going to say what I am.
Right.
He's totally not.
Yeah. Right.
So, but
it's a good balance.
Instinctually, I still have to balance that.
Yeah.
I can't go all red hot chili peppers off of everything.
That's right.
It just, at the end of the day, what really matters?
Yeah.
That we talk things through, we communicate, we spend time together, make time for your spouse.
Yeah.
And he has to be able to stay home and do his thing. He has to be able to let me do my thing.
Yeah.
I have to have that space to be out and have coffee with somebody and come back. But I'm like a connector. I have to be able to connect people from one person to the next.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I would say the other thing too is, and I think it's a little bit of different. I think it's different for people in certain situations, but I think at the basic denominator, there's always a commonality of like, you know, the relationship. When you said I do, you said I do to obviously your partner and the family and everything else. But I think to a certain extent, it becomes where it's like, okay, it's you two. This is your life, and the kids and everybody else, to some extent, now they're responsible for their own.
Exactly.
And I like, that's been something that because I didn't know all right, so when Patty and I got together 10 years ago, like, I had no idea of like everything that would have been, you know, equal to taking the I do and being in this relationship with Patty. Like,
yeah.
And I thought, like, I was like, well, I've had younger brothers. I know I can be that mentor kind of person. I was like, yeah, this will be easy.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. Man, was I mistaken? And I wasn't like, you know, I was still Wilson. I was still like, the wholeness of me was still that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't as mature as I am now, as far as like, you know, how to not explode, how to not get that crazy and angry, like the things that we were doing, you know. So to me, I feel like there are things I wish I would have done differently, but at the same time, there's some things that like I still am very adamant about. Like, even if they were my kids, and I had this conversation internally or with Patty, I was like, there are things that even if they were my own children, I would not accept. Like, there'd be a line of, this is okay, this is not okay, and these are the things that are going to happen because this line has been crossed, you know, sort of thing. And so for us, it's been very hard in certain situations because, like, some of the kids, so she's got 4 kids. One was older and he was already like out doing his thing in college when Patty and I got together 10 years ago. But the other 3 were pretty much part of, you know, our living scenarios and situations. One of them ended up leaving, didn't want to be around. I became the issue there. So that was kind of tough because, you know, for Patty, like, she loves her kids, and and you know, all of a sudden it's like, okay, now you're in this situation where, you know, what do you do? And she gets grief. Like, there's a lot of grief from specifically the kiddo saying, well, you've chosen someone else over me, you know, and she has a lot of this mom guilt still, like, connected to her. And then we had our the middle child sort of do something similar, where he ended up moving out over something that happened when we went out to Georgia. Ultimately, for me, there was a situation where I felt like he was being very disrespectful towards his mom, and I called it out in front of the people. Like, we were out to dinner, and I just called. I had enough for the day because it was like repetitive. I let it go, and I, like, you know, for me, it was certain things where it's like, hey, why are you doing this? And I called it out in front of certain people, like, that were there during dinner, and I think he was very upset specifically because there was like a girl there, and it kind of like made him feel, you know, whatever at his age, you know, like, I'm 21 or 20 years old and I shouldn't be XYZ. But came home, left, like, packed his like room and bounced, and so now 2 kids, you know, have left, and so now that's something that we've dealt with and are continuously to deal with, as far as like, I feel like to a certain extent I take on the whole, I'm like, I'm the bad person, I'm the bad guy, like, in the relationship, as far as why the kids are doing what they're doing. My whole take on it, that I've when I ponder myself, I'm like, listen, I think there's more than just me, right? Like, there's been situations prior to me coming that I feel like when I got here, of course there were certain things I wish I would have done differently in terms of my actions, of how I presented my thought of like, hey, this is respect, this is, you know, line of respect. And then I've obviously progressed, but everyone's sort of stuck on my early years of who I am without seeing the progress, or without acknowledging that there's progress. And then 2, like, it always comes back to the reason that they're not doing well or they're not where they are is because of either mom deciding X, Y, and Z, and then our relationship. And so the conversation I had with Patty, I'm like, babe, look, sometimes we have to acknowledge, and I've acknowledged and I've apologized for the things that I've done in the past that I wish I would have done different. But I would say, and at the end of the day, it's you and me that will continue this relationship to the end of whatever the existence is. So this is us. together moving forward.
Yeah.
And everyone else needs to understand that the relationship is here, and there are things, that if we can communicate with them, if I would be able to communicate with the kids now, like a couple of them don't want to talk to me. It's like if I can talk to them, obviously we can, if they had the awareness or the ability to sit and have a conversation, then we can definitely progress the relationship forward.
Right.
But they can't. So I my whole thing is with Patty's like, look, until they're ready, the only thing we can do is continue to move ourselves forward,
right,
and progress ourselves in the relationship in terms of how we want to do until they're ready, right? I don't know how much longer it's going to take.
Well, it's interesting. First of all, there isn't a parental handbook.
Right.
None of us get issued that when step parenting or by birth or foster, whatever. There's no handbook.
Yeah.
And if there was, it would have a prelude to everything that you grew up with. Right. So you bring all this baggage into it.
Influence.
Influence with the first daughter. I told her bio mom.
Yeah.
I am not her mother.
Yeah.
And she is not my daughter.
Right.
I'm not your mom. I told the daughter that, and I told the mom that she's not my kid.
Yeah.
But I don't expect her to call me mom.
Yep.
And I'm going to treat it like that in my house. There are things that, over the course of the years that just irritate the snot out of you. Yeah. That the ex does, and the ex does and doesn't consider the kids and whatever the dynamic you want to put there. Yeah, we won't even go there.
Oh my God!
But at the end of the day, if this child is in my home, I will parent her with love and discipline, like I do the others. So that's just how we did it.
Yeah.
And by acknowledging up front that I'm not her mom, and I'm not going to step on mom's toes doing the mom things, that you have that right.
Man, that's crazy. I like thinking about it now. It's like I wonder if that would have been a better, like, even if I would have said it in that manner to the kids at least, because like the other parent,
don't call me mom, because I'm not, but. And she's always called me by my first name. And we just have a deep love, and I've been able to bridge wifely emotions around the ex, and because there's family gatherings, and I'm not going to be the one to say no, I'm not going there because she's here.
That's me.
I'm not going there because she's here.
Yeah.
But, it's like this is a co-parenting situation with this oldest one, and we've been able to blend the families together at least for 2 hours. I don't want to spend, go buddy and hang out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I get it.
For the sake of this child and her stability, and the stability of my children seeing, my biological children seeing that, it can work. And sometimes it can work from a distance. Yeah. Or just for 2 hours.
Man. Yeah. No, because I'm trying to place myself and see if, like, and obviously, and I think it's valid, absolutely. And I just my only comeback is like I reflect back to my scenario. It's like, okay, I guess it just depends on the scenario as well, right?
It does.
Wow, what an incredible episode. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for part 2 of this incredible story. And don't forget, nothing changes until you do. Peace.